Hello guys and welcome back. So this is another IDT session where we will be continuing our composition scheme. Okay. In Still now we have done only 2 classes, correct? And our main, what I can say, the main focus or the main part of the chapter has already been completed. In today's session, we'll discuss about few forms. Okay, there is one circular regarding OIDAR services, and then we'll move on to our uh, we'll move on to our illustrations from that. Okay, so let's begin it. Okay, so see, the things are there. We have seen many provisions. Okay, I'll do a revision also. Okay, bit in a quick form. So we have seen composition scheme is a kind of another form of registration, correct? Where separate provisions are there. Okay, and separate things have been mentioned. I have just started Himanshu. Okay, so first of all, we'll start our discussion with the forms. Okay, registration forms which are needed. Okay, uh, it is forms are of different kinds. Okay, in our book it's given, but the way in books it's given, it's they have just simply mentioned the form number and what is used for. Correct, and it's hard to remember. Okay, so what I have done, uh, I've taken the PDF of all the forms and I have pasted it for better understanding. Okay, so there are two ways a person gets registered into this act. Okay, basically there are three ways, but one among them is now not means cannot be availed. Why and how? We'll see that. Okay, so one whoever is getting registered for the first time. Okay, like few examples which I gave in the last session. I said that now he's eligible for registration and he's registering as well as means he's registering as composition dealer. So where he will file his form, correct? So there are in GST also we'll see that like in law we saw that forms are on chapters name, correct? So here our for composition scheme all form will be CMP, correct? So CMP will be like GST CMP. Okay, CMP is composition form. There is 01, 02, 03, like the 7, 8 forms are there. All are not required. Okay, but few are required. We'll go through that. Okay, but for the person who are getting registered for the first time and they are opting for competition scheme, from for them GST CMP won't work. Okay, for them GST CMP won't work. So what will work for them? They will direct go to GST registration. Okay, there is a form registration one. Okay, which a person files first time when he's getting registered. Okay, there is a part B. Okay, there is a part B, and there it is mentioned that do you want to get registered as composition scheme or not? Correct. How it is, I'll show you right now. Okay, see, this is the form. Correct. This is the form. So this is GST REG1. Okay, just give me a second. I'll open it somewhere. Okay, leave it. So this is form GST REG1. Okay. So here only this is the one who files whenever first time he is opting for registration under GST. When I say first time, means he's liable to get registered. Correct. Maybe in what I say, maybe due to turnover, maybe voluntary or whatever it is. Okay. So see here, there is a see. This is the part B. Okay, you can see over. I cannot draw over here. This is the part B. Okay. Now in part B only there is an option. Where is the option? See option number 5. Opting for competition scheme, yes or no? Correct. The option is there in registration form only. Correct. But what happens is many are unknown of this facts. Correct. So first time they took normal competition, normal registration, and then they move forward to competition scheme. For that, different form is there, but the one who are registering for the first time in GST law, okay, they can apply for competition scheme in the registration form. Correct. So this is the one way for one who is getting registered. Okay, there are many more things like see in 6.1 there is a category manufacturer other than manufacturer of such goods as notified by the government. Option is not available. PETA is there. Okay, other manufacturers. Supplier making supplies referred to in clause B of paragraph 6, schedule 2. If you remember schedule 2, clause 6, what we read, we read about the services which are provided by, okay, it is hard to remember like that in schedule 2 para 6. Okay, but what was there? It is for suppliers. Okay, that 50 lakhs limit. Correct. No, this is not for 50 lakh limits. This is for the traders. Means what I mean to say is that goods plus services. Correct. That limit of 10% or 50 lakh, whatever it is. And third one is any other supply eligible for composition scheme. That means 2A, 50 lakh conditions. Correct. So form means form GST REG 01. Okay. So this is the form which itself the one who is what I say, the one who is registering for the first time can opt for composition scheme by this way only. Okay. Now I told you that there are suppose if someone, okay, who is already registered under this act and he saw his last ever turnover. Correct. He saw his last ever turnover and he came to know about composition scheme. So he was he went for composition scheme. How will he opt that? Correct. He cannot opt in GSTR registration form 1 because he's already registered under this act. So what he has to file? He has to file an form GST CMP 02. Correct. CMP 02. Correct. For those who are registered in this act and opting for competition scheme. Correct. Now see GSTN, because they have already in number 1 column only, there's GSTN number. And this GSTN number is availed whenever you get registered in this act. Correct. Legal name, trader name, address of principal, category of registered person. See again, manufacturers or suppliers or any other suppliers. Correct. Jurisdiction, declaration, many things more are there. Correct. And now one more form is there for getting registered under this act, but this is not yet valid. Means no one will opt this. See, we know that GST came in 2017. Correct. But previous to 2017, say for example 2016 or anything before that, there must have been some persons who have been registered under service tax, VAT, and everything. Correct. So for them to get transferred into this act as well as to composition scheme, they have to file form GST CMP1. Correct. This is for one who are previously registered in pre-GST period. Okay. Now see what they have given. Intimation to pay tax under section 10 only for person registered under the existing law migrating on the appointment day. Okay. Is there any delay between the screen and my words?
No, Shivam. It's
okay. So see what they have said. Appointed date. Appointed day. I think everyone is well known of this word. What is appointed day? Correct. Whenever something changes, correct, means in 1st July 2017, GST came out. So there must have been some appointed date. I am also not aware of that. What date was it is? Okay, but there had been some appointed date that has been fixed by the law itself. So on that day, the ones who were registered in pre-GST period, okay, they can move on to composition scheme in form GST CMP 01. Now see, now do you think that persons will now be filling up this form? No, there's very negligible chances that one will get, means either he will, for the first time registration only, he will take composition scheme, or he might get registered and then file form GST CMP 02. Okay, means this is for one who is, see, but the same intimation to pay tax under section 10 for persons registered under this act, means was already registered under GST and now they are opting for composition scheme. Correct. Now along with this form, okay, there is one more form which is to be filed. Okay, 02 is the form, correct, 02 or 01, whatever it is. Along with it, 03 has also to be filed. What is that? Only for persons registered under existing law migrating on the appointed date. So this appointed date is what? For GST CMP 1 or 0? It is for both. How it is for both? Say for an example, okay, you have opted for it, okay, and you have opted and you have got the grant, it has been granted, your approval, your registration in the composition scheme got granted by our authority. So on that day, okay, you are moving it to you're moving to composition scheme. So now you have to file a form which is GST CMP 03, intimation of detail of stock on the day of appointing composition list. Why it is been done? because we know in composition scheme, ITC is not available. I am not eligible to claim taxes, but I must have something in my stock. If I have, okay, if I have some stock, then only I have to file a form GST CMP-03, okay, in which all details, see, what is this? GSTN, legal name, trader name. Okay, now let's see. Stock purchase made from registered supplier under the existing law. GSTN, name of supplier, invoice number, date, value of stock, VAT, excise, service tax total. So whatever ITCs or whatever taxes on the stock that you have paid, and if you didn't have opted for this, correct, then you must have, should have taken the ITC, or you must have taken it already, correct. That is the most common point of view, that if I have purchased something and I have an input, I'll definitely set it off with any of my output. Okay, so that has to be reversed, and that intimation has to be filed by the taxpayer in form CMP-03 along with 01 or 02. Not with 02 also, you can say that 01. Okay, and see, one is from the registered person and one is from unregistered person. Correct. Now, many things more are there, details of tax paid, description, shelter tax, debit entry number. Okay, so we need not to see that. Okay, it is one, and one more form which is important is needed, form GST CMP-04. What that says? Intimation or application for withdrawal for composition scheme. Suppose you are opting out from, correct. So the one who are opting after getting registration under the GST Act, they will form CMP-02, and one who are withdrawing from the composition levy may have to file CMP-04, correct. See, reasons for withdrawal from composition scheme. We also have to give this. Okay, I don't think anything more I have mentioned. Okay, there are in books, there are more given 05, 06, 07, 08, but they are normal things. Okay, so what if to sum up? So if a person who is getting registered for the first time, correct, he may opt for composition scheme in the form GST registration 01, correct. But suppose one who is registered under this act, but now he is opting for GST. So what he will file? He will file form GST CMP. CMP is what? Composition 02 form, correct. And those persons who were already registered before GST in any other law, service tax, VAT, or anything, okay, for them to migrate under this act and to get covered under composition levy, they have to file a form GST CMP-01, correct. Along with 01, they also have to 01 or 02, whatever it is, they have to file a form of name, form GST CMP-03, okay, which is about the details of the stock that you have, okay, on the date of opting composition levy, correct. So the day when you are opting for composition levy, till that date or on that date, whatever the stock you have, whatever the taxes or the inputs you have taken or it's yet to be taken, you need to inform everything to the department, correct. And suppose why, see, this composition scheme are for small dealers only, correct. Like, see, suppose I have a shop in locality, okay, I can opt for composition scheme because my consumer, so my customers are the consumers only, correct. They won't take ITC. But suppose if I'm a middleman, correct, then there are very less chances that any business entity or any registered person will come to me, correct, because they know that if I won't charge tax from them because I'm composition dealer, okay, they won't get the taxes, they won't get the input, correct. They have to pay in full prices and their input is being stopped because I'm not charging any tax on the invoice, correct. So there are some disadvantage also. So it is best for the small dealers, locality shops and all, okay, because where the customers are the final consumers, at that place composition levy is perfect. But anyone for the so anyone opting for composition scheme who has a supplier in a business entity, that shouldn't, okay. And if you are taking withdrawal with the same reason, correct, then you have to file an intimation or an application for withdrawal for composition levy in CMP-04, correct. Am I clear with it? Okay. Now let's read what it is written in the book. Okay, so see what they have said. Person already registered under GST and already registered under pre-GST regime who opts to pay tax under section 10 form GSTR CMP-01, correct. prior to the appointed date, but not later than 30 days after the said day. Okay, so whatever the appointed day is there, okay, not later than 30 days. These are required only for practical knowledge, correct? I don't think it will form, it may form this days and all, what are the days, that won't be important, but this form numbers are important as MCQs are there, correct? So so where the intimation in form GST is filed after the appointed date is what? The day when it's get approved, correct? Shall not collect any tax, shall not issue bill of supply for supplies made after the day set. Okay, so there is one more, just give me a second. Just a second. Okay, so there are two things, okay, which I think you might be knowing. If not, you should know. Okay, bill of supply is what? Okay, so bill of supply is also a kind of invoice only. Okay, and it is an invoice which a seller issues to the customer. Correct. So bill of supply is a kind of invoice in which taxes are mentioned. Correct. And when there is something seller to seller, okay, that is known as tax invoice. Correct. That is known as tax in invoice. Okay, but bill of supply is a kind of invoice which the seller, what I can say, seller issues to the customer or the recipient. Correct. And but whenever there is a from one seller to another seller, okay, it is always tax invoice. That is not bill of supply. Correct. Now, any person registered, any registered person who opts to pay tax under this section, that is CMP 02. CMP 02. Okay. And when he has to file? He has to file before the commencement of the next financial year, correct? Because in the next financial year, you are going to opt for that scheme. Okay. Prior to the commencement of the financial year from which the option to pay tax under the aforesaid section is exercised and shall furnish form 0. Okay. See, along with okay, one second. Along with form GST CMP 02, okay, form GST ITC 03 has to be filed. What is that ITC? Okay, so one thing it's clear, which I was not very sure about, that GST CMP 03 has to be filed along with form GST CMP 01. Okay, but one who is already registered under this act and opting for competition scheme in 02 has to file form GST ITC 03. Okay, so on or before 30th day of June and shall furnish GST as in accordance with the provision for first day. Okay, this is not not important. Any person who applied for registration, okay, option to pay tax, okay, means who applied for registration means first time registering. Okay, so they will do what they will do, part B of form GST REG 01. Correct. So that's all what is needed. Okay. Okay, 10 section 10 subsection 3, we have read that if any violation is being done by the competition dealer, so from the said date or in his aggregate turnover increased on the said date, okay, he has to switch from competition to normal scheme. Correct. In example also we saw that. Okay. Okay, intimation in every year is not required. Correct. Once you have once you have filed the intimation form, okay, every year you need not. Correct. And see, CMP 01, 02, 03, 04, we have gone in detail. CMP 05 is what? CMP 05 is a SCN. What is SCN? SCN is a show cause notice. Okay, issued by the department or the proper officer, means on contravention. Correct. If the department or the officer feels like that you have done any contravention, maybe aggregate turnover or any interstate or eco, or I am the manufacturer of those 4 products. Okay, if the proper officer or the department feels so, so they will file an GST CMP 05. So that will come to me. Correct. That is from proper officer to me. Okay, on contravention. And CMP 06 is what? Is nothing but reply to that CMP 05 within 15 days. Correct. And after those 15 days, within 30 days, Okay, within 30 days, an order will come, correct, by the proper officer to me, whether I'm still now I'm eligible for composition scheme or not, correct. And what is CMP-08? CMP-08 is nothing. CMP-08 is what we need to file, okay. One who has opted for composition scheme, okay, that entity has to file a CMP-08 on, means suppose I have told you that, have I told you that tax is paid on quarterly basis? Correct. So suppose if I talk about quarter, then I can say that April, May, and June. Correct. This is the quarter. On 31st June, I will pay the tax of 3 quarters. Means this 3 months, first quarter, and June 31st June, and after that, within July 18th, within the July 18th, I have to file a CMP-08 informing that what was my self-assessed tax, what I have paid. Correct. So details of payment of self-assessed tax, 18th day of the month succeeding such quarter. Correct. So like April, May, June. So by 31st June, I have to pay the first quarter rate, I mean tax. And after that, within 18 days of the next month, I have to file CMP-08 informing that how I have calculated the tax and what was my calculation for the tax. Correct. So CMP-05, 06, 07, 5, 6, 7 are not that important, but you need to know. So let's sum up in, okay, so let's sum up things. So this is like one who is getting first time registration, okay, and opting for composition scheme. Composition scheme may opt in GST REG 01. Okay. While writing this form number, always do write in caps. Okay, don't write it in small. Correct. But one who is already registered, okay, registered already, now opting for composition scheme. Now opting in composition scheme. What they will file? They will file GST CMP 02. Correct.
02.
Correct. With GST ITC
GS
03. Correct. This is intimation of the stock they have and the taxes they have, the input taxes they have in this. Correct. But one who was pre-registered, okay, let's read the also. Pre-registered and now opting for composition scheme, he will file GST CMP 01 along with GST CMP 03. Correct?
03.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah.
And intimation or application of withdrawal.
That is GST CMP
04. Correct.
04.
Correct. And one more which is important as self-assessed tax. Self-assessed tax in GST CMP 08. Okay. For this, the date is important. Okay. So within 18 days. Okay. 18 days.
Within 18 days from that quarter.
After the expiry of quarter. After the expiry of said quarter. Okay, so these all are important, and if you go to the practical world also, okay, so these are only the forms which are issued. CMP 05 is what the department issued to us, show cause notice. 6 is reply to the same, and 7 is reply to that. After my reply, they will reply whether I am still eligible in that or not. Correct. So form part is important. First of all, I thought that I won't go through it, but then I felt like maybe MCQs will come from here. And 2-3 MCQs I saw in the exam, which were from this. Correct. So now I have 9-10 minutes left. So what I will do, I'll go through this OIDAR services. Correct. Okay. I think I gave you a bit info about OIDAR services in the supply chapter. Correct. That we also had some discussion whether reverse charge or war, what is applicable or not. I think I had a brief chat with
Shivam.
Girish.
Correct.
Yeah. So He is not now, but definitely you are seeing the recording, I know, so no need to smile. Okay, so this is a kind of clarification. Okay, OIDAR services. Okay, now we know that OIDAR service is not anything which is very uncommon. It is very common thing in nowadays. Correct. So what is OIDAR? It is online information database access and retrieval services. Okay. So what is this one? Okay, what is this one? I'll come to it later part. But what is OIDAR? Okay, OIDAR, online information database access and retrieval services, is a category of services provided through medium of internet and received by the recipient online without having any physical interface with the supply of such services. Example, downloading of an ebook online, payment would amount to receipt of OIDAR services by the customer, downloading the ebook and making payment. Okay, so I've just given it for your reference. So what is actually OIDAR and the common things which are, okay, ebook is not at all common, correct? Netflix, Hotstar, Amazon, okay, anything like those. If any more are there, I'm not very sure. Okay, there are many more things. Okay, that all falls under OIDAR. Okay, and OIDAR is not about goods, it's always about services, correct? So Flipkart, Amazon, they are not OIDAR, they are electronic commerce operator, correct? But Amazon Prime is OIDAR.
Yeah.
Okay, so see what is the thing? Why this type of things came up? So what are its services? Correct. Advertisement, providing cloud services, ebooks, data information, online supplies, movie, television, show, music, digital data storage, online gaming, and all. Okay. Now see, what they are saying is that. So see, but before I go to that table, one thing which is always has to be clear is that if OIDAR, correct, is providing any services to any registered person, correct, if providing any services to the registered person, then it is very much sure, and I hope you guys are that much capable after all these classes, that will fall under RCM, correct? Because once who is registered, okay, and receiving services from abroad, okay, from outside India, import of services, if you guys remember, for consideration, whether for business or not, is always a supply of services, correct? If you guys remember that.
Yes.
7(1)(b).
Yes.
Okay. Okay. But things come, what about those non-taxable online recipients? With the word non-taxable online recipient means the one who is a recipient of the services and he, she, or whatever it is, okay, is not registered. Okay, this is important. Non-taxable online recipient means any government, local authority, governmental authority, and individual or any other person. Which any other person means those seven names, correct? Anywhere in law, it's written person, that 7 names should strike in our mind. Okay, so a company who is not registered is also non-taxable online recipient, correct? Not registered and receiving online information and database access retrieval services in relation to any purpose other than, so they can receive for any, but not for commerce, industry, or any other business or profession located in taxable territory. Means any kind of thing can be there, correct? But so now a thing can come that suppose what I can say, a firm is there. This red color. Suppose a firm is there. Okay, a firm is there which is unregistered, correct, and it is taking for its commerce purpose, its business purpose. Okay, what it is taking? OIDAR services. Now see, it is unregistered, correct? So RCM won't apply, correct? It is in the commerce, it has to be taxed. It is OIDAR services only. Now difficulty was in this case, correct? This whole scenario has came only for this situation, nothing more. Only for this situation, this has came, correct? So that's why whenever we read about this thing or OIDAR services, we specifically talk about section 14 of IGST, okay, not CGST. With IGST means import of services kind of thing, correct? Not correct, but kind of thing is there, correct? So what is about that? Because see, we cannot charge tax from this word because if he's not in India, correct? If he's in India, then things get resolved, correct? Do you think that any OIDR provider, service provider who is in India providing services to unregistered person, this is very definite that forward charge mechanism will apply. But what about those who are sitting in non-taxable territory? Then IGST comes into picture and it has cleared everything. What is that? We'll go through it. Now the chart will be much more valuable. So see, OIDR services, correct. Let's first ignore this part. Okay. Let's first talk about this. Supplier is in India, but the recipient is in. Okay. Now they're talking that supplier is in India means OIDAR is in India, correct. But the recipient is in India. He is also in India. So forward charge mechanism will apply, correct. Supplier will pay the tax. Very simple thing. If he is outside India, then they have said that it is non-taxable. Why non-taxable? Exemption will come. Exemption entry is there for this, correct. So if OIDAR is in India and the recipient is outside India, it is not taxable, correct. But if it is in India, then very sure FCM will apply, correct. And one more thing I can say that if it is in India as well, okay, here what I mean to say is that this is non, what was that word? What was that word? NTOR, non-taxable online recipient. Okay, if is that too non-taxable, but if suppose it is in India, is in India only and is registered, so do I need to write it that FCM will apply? Do I need to write that? Because at beginning only I cleared to any taxable person RCM will apply, correct. No matter where the OIDR is, correct. But now things come, and this is only the doubt was on this part only, correct. Doubt was in this part only this part. So supplier is outside India, but the recipient is in. Let's first talk about if it is outside India. Do we need to see that OIDR is outside India, recipient is outside India? So what about that? Why will you think of that? Correct. We won't think about that, correct or not? But now the fact comes is when the recipient is in India, if business entity, RCM will apply because registered person, correct. If to non-taxable online recipient, then FCM will apply as per which is IGST as per section 14. What is that value? We'll read that in value chapter, correct. Is this much clear? Okay, so few kind of what I can say assumption we can take that OIDR providing services to recipient who is registered, no matter in India, out India, whatever it is, RCM will apply, correct. But if it is in India, recipient is in India, and they are supplying services to non-taxable online recipient, forward charge will apply. That means OIDR will pay the tax, correct. But if it is supplier is outside India and the recipient is in India, okay, so for that, if to business entity, that means registered, RCM will apply. But if to non-taxable, then FCM will apply. How? IGST as per section 40, correct. And if supplier is outside India, recipient is outside India, who cares, correct. So let's keep it up to here. My session will end at any time now. Okay, I'm hosting the next session right now. Join back, we'll continue with it. Okay, so let's continue. So what we have seen till now, let's have a quick revision. OIDR services are those Netflix, Amazon's, Hotstar, okay, all those services. And when we talk about all these services, we'll find out that maximum service providers are located in non-taxable territory, correct. So what is the thing? One thing which you should be always clear is that if OIDR is providing services to any registered recipient, it is always taxable on always taxable on reverse charge basis, correct. But the things are different when we talk about anyone who's not registered. Means not registered in Act means non-taxable. What was the word we read? We read non-taxable online recipient. Okay, NTOR. So if the supplier, so we went through, if the supplier is in India and recipient is in India, and with this recipient, okay. One more thing, I think I said that to any registered recipient, correct, RCM will apply. Then I beg your pardon. Okay, it is that if the supplier is in India and the recipient is in India, correct, no matter whether registered or unregistered, forward charge will apply. Okay. I'm very sorry, I got carried away. In last session also, I think I went like that. Correct. So if supply, okay, the thing is simple when the OIDR is in India only, correct. Maybe to taxable or to non-taxable, whatever it is, FCM will apply because our government can catch that OIDR, correct, that you have provided services, deposit that tax, correct. But if supplier is in India, means OIDR is in India and the recipient is outside India, it is not taxable, it is exempt, correct. But things are difficult when supplier is outside India and the recipient is in India, correct. And when I talk about recipient is in India, I mean the business entities or any registered, okay, RCM will apply, okay. But if they are non-registered and they are receiving services from the OIDAR who are outside India, forward charge will apply as per IGST section 40, correct. And if OIDR is outside India and services recipient is also outside India, we need not to see, correct. Okay, now one more thing, okay, which was added in this circular was a bit interesting. They are saying that OIDR services when intermediary is there. What do you understand the term intermediary? Intermediary means anything which is facilitating the services. Correct. The examples are very popular, good examples: Google Play or App Store or Amazon. Correct. I have written Amazon, but Amazon is not really kind of that. Okay, so let me do one thing. Let me remove this one. It is correct. Sorry. So example is, so what they are trying to talk about. They're saying, so I may give you example of this app only, which I'm writing. It is Good Notes, correct, and it is available on App Store, correct. So is this Good Note? What I mean to say? Is the service provider is in India? No, it is not in India, correct. And it is also a kind of OIDR only because I'm purchasing, I'm making payment to them, I'm getting something which is downloaded, correct. So this also forms under OIDR services only, correct. So when I have paid to the what I did, I went to App Store, I purchased it, I paid over there, okay, I paid there. So what I have done, so App Store become an intermediary for me, okay, which paved the way between me and that this app owner of the Good Notes, correct. So here intermediary is coming, correct. So something is there, okay. What something or assumption is there when OIDR, when OIDR is providing services through see, what is this? OIDR when providing service to a recipient, okay. This is a case where the services are directly provided to recipient without any intermediary. So what is the thing? Recipient, we need to see the above illustration, okay, whether recipient is in India or not, OIDR is in India or not. So I've taken the example of Netflix, which means that this second condition will apply, correct. We'll check from here whether recipient is in India or outside India, it is business entity or any non-taxable, correct. So OIDR directly to the recipient, we can find it out by this above table. But when the thing is that when OIDR means in my case the Good Notes owner, correct, intermediary was, so my example is it was for Good Notes, correct, and intermediary was nothing but App Store and recipient was me, correct, recipient was me. So in this case what will happen, so there is some deeming provisions that whenever any OIDR will provide services through intermediary, whatever it is, the intermediary is liable to pay tax. Means what I mean to say, intermediary is liable to pay tax means this. So this table will, okay, will change with intermediary. Correct. Now we need to see that it is providing in India or outside India. Correct. Just we need to change the OIDR name with intermediary. Correct. Means deemed supplier and the tax liability will be on intermediary, not on OIDAR. Till now, it was very simple. Correct. OIDR providing services to the recipient. Okay, we need to check this upper table, whether that OIDR is in India or outside India, whether the recipient is in India or outside India. We can determine whatever will levy. Correct. Now thing comes when intermediary is there. Okay, so whenever OIDR provide the service to the intermediary and intermediary provides that service to me, correct. In my example, Good Note was there. So App Store is now eligible to pay tax. Correct, not OIDR. Our government won't go to that OIDR. It will go to that intermediary, means app store, to pay tax, because I am not a registered person. I am an unregistered person. I am NTOR. Correct. But on fulfillment of certain conditions, intermediary will not be liable to pay tax. Okay, if intermediary fulfills these 4 conditions, okay, these are very logical conditions. Once we read it, you will get it. Is that if you fulfill this condition, then tax liability will again move on to the OIDR, not to the intermediary. What are those conditions? Invoice or bill issued is in the name of OIDR. Correct. The bill that I have received from the intermediary is on OIDR services. So that is merely a agent services. Correct. And one more word which you will find common in the going chapters, there's something word as pure agent. Is anyone aware of the fact? Aware of the word pure agent? What is this? Pure, impure means good agent, bad agent. Is it like that?
No, Shivam, I haven't heard.
Okay, so pure agent is simply those agents, okay, which we cover in supply. Those who do not provide, those who do not raise invoice in their own name, means they provide pure agent service. They will just connect the buyer and the seller, and they are done. They will receive the commission. They went off. That is pure agent. So whenever the intermediary act as a pure agent, which means the invoice or the bill issued by it is in the name of OIDR, it is clearly what I can say. It clearly states that owner or means the provider is OIDA. It is just the facilitator. Then the tax liability will move on to OIDA. Correct. Next one, intermediary neither collects nor process payment on behalf of OIDA. Correct. That intermediary is not collecting payment. Means with the word not collecting payments, I do not mean to say that, for example, I purchase the good note, but when I'm purchasing from App Store, I'll pay to App Store only. Correct. App Store. But that amount means the linking has been done in such a way that whenever I pay to the App Store, it will directly go to the good notes owner account. Okay. So there means he is not collecting or is not processing the payment. Okay. They are not processing it in that way. Means clear way, means clear words are not given for this, but this is the only way we can assume. Correct. Because anyone, if you take service from intermediary, whatever it is, we always make payment to the intermediary. Correct. Is it like that? I'll good note owner account number will be given, pay to me, I'll give you access to the app. That is not done. Okay. Now next is, it is not involved in the supply, does not authorize delivery. It is not involved in the supply and does not authorize delivery means here what we can say is that means he's not confirming that if you pay means you'll get guaranteed delivery. It may be, it may not be, because it is just facilitating. Okay, it is just connecting me and the owner, and we can deal whatever it is. It will not authorize, it will not take guarantee of anything. Okay. Fourth point is more logical. Four and first point are more logical than this two. Correct. What says? General terms and conditions of supply are not set by intermediary. Means whatever the general terms in this purchase on this supply, okay, is not set by intermediary. It is set by OIDA. Correct. You guys are with me. Rekha might find it a bit difficult because she joined late, but once you go through it, you'll get it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. I get your point.
Okay, so that's all clarifications, forms and everything ends. So now our work is to discuss the illustrations that are there in our map. Correct. I don't think I'll be able to discuss all today, but if few are left, okay, I'll put it on your part. You go it through once. If you find it any difficulty, I'll definitely take that in the session. Correct. So if I'm not wrong, we did till 100. Correct? 100 or 99? I do not remember.
99.
99. I knew it.
Yeah.
One who can remember, I knew it. Okay. So what they're saying that Messrs. X and Company sells electrical cables, motor and wires. Company also undertake repair of switches, motor sets. Turnover during the preceding financial from sale of goods is 59 lakh, where repairing is 1 lakh. Whether eligible for composition of scheme advice. So what is this aggregate turnover? Aggregate turnover is 60 lakh, which is well within. So aggregate turnover, write it on. Okay. So aggregate turnover is what? Aggregate turnover is 60 lakh, which is less than 1.5 or 75, whatever the case it is, which is less than 150 or 75. Correct. Because he is dealing in goods also, because this cables, motors, these all are goods. So we cannot assume section 10 to A1, correct? Services of 50 lakh, we cannot assume it. Am I correct or not? Or we can assume it? We cannot.
Yeah, we cannot assume, sure.
So now what we need to check whether it is fulfilling. So aggregate 10% of aggregate, what is 60%? 10% of 60 is 6 lakh. He is below 1 lakh. Yes, he is eligible. Correct. Okay, which is value not exceeding 10% of turnover in state or union territory. Correct. In the preceding financial year. Okay, so what you will see that in books, okay, in books, some places, while determining this 10%, turnover in a state or union territory is given. Correct. I'm not saying it is wrong, but the thing is that whenever whenever you try to solve a problem, correct, if things are not given state-wise, how can you calculate turnover in a state? Correct. In this case, can you calculate what is the turnover in a state? It is not mentioned anywhere. Correct. So turnover in a state where states are not mentioned are assumed to be same. Otherwise, turnover in a state, what does it mean? We already have done a very detailed discussion. Correct. Means I personally means in practical also we never ever see turnover in a state. Okay. For this for this 10% condition, the aggregate turnover is always same. Okay. Aggregate, because you solve few sums, you go through the examples, you will get it used. 10% of aggregate is always same. Not when we see turnover in a state, if guys have attended the last class and I went through it, when do we see turnover in a state? Can anyone remind me of? Okay. We see it in the
1 lakh
1 lakh. No. That is not. We see turnover in a state when we opt for that tax rate. If you guys remember it, well, while calculating the tax, we see turnover in the state because each and every state has a different registration and taxes are paid on different basis, separate basis. Okay. Now next one. Mr. A is a paper merchant, owned 5,000 square feet shop at Chennai. Mr. A offered extra space available in the shop to a supplier to put their advertisement services is providing. His turnover in the previous year from the sale of goods was 20 lakh and advertising service was 2 lakh. Is he eligible for composition scheme? Yes, 10% of 2 lakh is 2 lakh or 5 lakh, whichever is higher. So everyone who is opting for that section can supply up to 5 lakh. He is only 2 lakh. Value of services is 9.9. Okay, so he is eligible for composition scheme. Correct. I don't think these all requires a very detailed discussion. Am I correct or not? Stop me at any place you feel like you need some explanation.
Yeah.
Hotel King Private Limited provider of restaurant service in New Delhi. They also serve beer, whiskey, and so on. Shall I read it again or not? Shall I read ahead of it? If the question is of eligible composition scheme, no.
No need.
Not required.
Not required. Because beer, whiskey, all are there. So
it is
non-taxable supplies condition is not fulfilled. Okay. Mr. C of Chennai. Okay, see now they have given the Chennai word. Okay. Mr. C of Chennai is a retailer dealing with cell phone. He supplies goods to the person located in Chennai and Pondicherry. Aggregate turnover in the preceding financial year is 45 lakh. Mr. C wants to opt for composition scheme in the current financial year. Can he? No, he cannot. Why? Chennai and Pondicherry. Interstate? Correct or not? Interstate, they are not allowed. So, no interstate supply. So, not eligible for composition scheme. Very simple one. Peter England is a trader who sells ready-made clothes online on Amazon Private India, eligible for composition scheme. Can you give the answer right now without reading anything more?
No. He cannot get
give.
composition scheme because he is dealing through ECO.
Correct. Hot Breads Private Limited is the supplier of bakery product registered in the current financial year 2017-18 with effect from 1st October 2017. Okay. In the month of October, total taxable supply was 88 lakhs. Answer the following. Is he eligible for composition scheme? So bakery products means not services, goods. Turnover was 88 lakh. So less than 1.5 crore. Assuming it is not 75 lakh, he is eligible. If so, company wants to pay tax of 1% being trader. However, Deputy Commissioner of Central Tax contended that SEC is liable to pay tax at 5% under the food and restaurant service category. Advice, please, anyone. I would love to hear this from you.
See, Shivam, the hot breads is not providing the restaurant service.
Correct.
They're just sending goods. They're just supplying the goods.
Bakery products means good is there.
Yeah, and bakery products.
So yeah, bakery product means good, and supplier of brood means what? Trader.
Correct. Yeah. So 1%.
1% is eligible. Now, one thing which is not given, I want to ask whether it is 0.5% of total turnover that tax you will levy, or 0.5% of turnover in a state. Sorry. A taxable turnover. What will apply? If you answer this, your logic is cleared. I need not to worry about it. Which rate will apply? I know Himanshu and Rekha might not. If they have seen the video, they can.
It's on total turnover?
It's on total turnover. Anyone with any other view? Taxable turnover, or anyone would feel like? Okay. One more
should
thing.
Be on the taxable turnover, right?
Just taxable turnover. I may give you the logic. Always remember this. Okay, this is an assumption. It is always to apply. Whenever we see a supply of some products or goods, correct, or services, okay, always assume it to be a trader, and on trader we know 0.5% of taxable turnover is needed. On trader, it is always remember that on trader, not on manufacturer, correct? On manufacturer, it is 0.5% of total turnover. And this is a special benefit given to the trader. Why? Because our India is a kind of country where traders are more in numbers rather than manufacturing.
If yes, it is a trader, then it will be on taxable turnover. Huh?
Taxable turnover, yes. You went for the last class. You are not there, I know.
No, not it.
Okay. If you have went, you go through that. I've discussed that in detail. What is taxable turnover? Okay. What is to be included over there?
Yeah.
I've done that in detail.
Yeah.
Shivam, okay. rate will be 0.5% or 1%?
0.5 means I mean to say 0.5 of CGST.
Okay.
And means all total it would be 1% only, 1% of taxable turnover. But because we are reading CGST Act, so we do speak like this only. Okay. So Rekha, remember this. This, as you have not attended, 0.5 means 0.5 of CGST plus 0.5 of SGST. Total 1% tax only.
This you have covered in last Saturday class, Sunday class.
No.
Have attended only Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday. Correct, Sunday.
Okay.
We had long session on Sunday. And that recording is also not very good because that was on Google Meet.
Good then.
Why? Okay, I'll have this answer after the class.
Okay.
Memorize the answer. Hotel King Private Limited is a registered person under GST. Previous year turnover was 100 lakhs. Applicable GST is 80%. Input cost 7,80,000 inclusive of 18% GST. Profit margin is 40% on cost. Find the invoice price and advise the best option to pay tax, if any. There is no opening balance and closing balance of tax period. So what this question is asking. This question is asking you as a cost accountant advise this firm, advise this company whether they should they should pay tax on composition scheme or as per normal scheme. They are wanting an advice from you. And this is the kind of question which forms part in the exam. Correct. You need to advise it. So what you need to do, you need to calculate tax as per CMP and tax as per normal scheme. Then only you can advise which is correct or which is not correct or not. So let's see this. So let's see it for the composition levy. So cost of inputs is 7,80,000, correct. And it has 7,80,000 was there or some more was there? 7,80,000 exclusive of GST. So we need to add GST because whatever I will sell as a competition levy, my cost will be, so for me, the selling price will be cost plus tax because I'm not eligible to collect tax separately. So I won't be eligible to collect ITC. So what I will do, I will include the tax in the cost. Correct or not? So I just now remember this, I have not yet cleared. Correct. So for a composition dealer, so what we know, no ITC. Correct. We know that no ITC is there. But suppose if I am purchasing it from outside source, I am purchasing it. Correct. I will pay tax. So what I will pay? I'll give the amount plus GST. So say for an example, I am purchasing 100 rupees product, correct, and I'm paying 18 rupees GST. So what for purchasing, what I am paying? I'm paying 118, correct, and I am not eligible to collect tax because when I will do what I say that outward supply. So how will my invoice look like? My invoice will be okay. So my invoice will be this way. My name will be there, details will be there, means particulars will be there, and amount column will be there. Okay, my amount column will be there. So what I will, I'll just give the value of supply, correct, and what I will say, I'll say 118, correct. So what is done in the outward supply, I do take the tax paid and the cost as my price because I have to sell it. Well, otherwise, how will I recover the tax that I paid? So it is recovered by adding it into the value, correct. So as a composition dealer, what I will do, I'll take the cost of inputs. I'll add 18% GST. Okay, this is this and this is this. So this will be my total cost, and I'll add 40% margin because it is said in the example. So 40% of this amount is 3,86,000. So my invoice price will be this amount, correct. Now what they're saying, see, is a registered person turnover applicable, is a registered person a GST, okay.
Hello?
Yeah. This time I'm checking just one thing. Okay, see, now they have taken the example as services. Why they have taken the example as services? Is because, see, in example, 100 lakh is given, correct? And they are asking it, they're asking that how to pay, and 100 lakh is applicable on which services?
Shubham, I didn't understand one thing. Means they're saying input cost is 7,80,000. So this is all about means 7.8 lakhs out of the entire turnover or one invoice means which?
No, they're asking that their turnover means not about turnover, means their turnover is 100 lakh. Input cost means what? The things which they have purchased and they have paid the price. That is 7,80,000 with 18% GST, and this 7,80,000 is exclusive of GST. So what they have paid? 7,80,000 plus 18% of GST.
Out of it, 100 lakhs, their cost is only 7.8 lakhs.
Don't go into logic. Go with the sums. If they have given example like this, we have to assume things like this. We cannot go on logic always. If they have said this is this, so this is this. Do we need to rejoin? What happened?
No, sir. Sorry, Shivam. I just came out of this meeting.
Okay,
and
you
then
thought
I
I
was
ended
searching
it.
for the. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, your question, Himanshu, is very correct. When turnover is 100 lakh, how can the input cost of the things which are purchased is 7,80,000? Okay, we can assume as that also that turnover is 100 lakh. This 7,80,000 is a part of that they have purchased, and we need to pay tax on this. Like this also we can assume, or anyhow you assume things are simple that we need to calculate tax on which option is best for them. Correct. We can assume that 100 lakh is their turnover, but the input cost they're asking maybe for, say for, what I can say it for 20 lakh product. Correct. That can be a particular bill also, which they're asking for. It can be like that also.
We can calculate the tax on 100 lakh also.
We can calculate the tax on 100 lakh also. Yeah, but they're not asking about 100 lakhs. They're asking on this amount. Okay, in this amount, what they have to, shall they pay, means should they opt for normal tax and they should take ITC and they pay tax on the rest, or they should opt for this only they should opt for composition scheme, means with no ITC. They are just asking and calculation. Okay, they are just asking and calculation for only this said amount. And if we are reading composition scheme, why this 100 lakh turnover is given? Just for case to determine that whether it is available, means whether composition scheme is available. Correct. So see what they have done. They have indirectly taken CGST 2.5, SGST 2.5, which means 5%. And we know 5% tax is on services, and especially on restaurant
18%,
services.
no, services is 18%, right?
That is normal scheme. We are talking composition scheme.
Okay, composition. Okay.
Composition scheme. Normal scheme, it is 18%. Be rest assured. So, see, anywhere in the example, they haven't said that whether it is of goods or services or whatever it is. How they have taken it is that they have assumed it as a services, and that also services of why of 100 lakh and especially of restaurant, because we know, okay, services are 50 lakhs limit is there, and along with goods 10% limit is there. Correct. And we cannot calculate the 10% limit over here, and 100 lakh is being crossed. Correct. So we cannot take example of the 6% of 50 lakh. So 100 lakh means they're assuming it is restaurant services. Correct. So restaurant services is there, and we know on restaurant 2.5 is payable. So if this is the invoice price, okay, so on this 2.5 and 2.5, correct. So my tax liability under composition scheme is 64,428. Correct. We cannot advise this right now. Correct. We cannot advise it. We need to check the normal scheme also. So what will happen in normal scheme? We'll get input. Correct. Only thing will change that the one we are adding it over here. Okay, when we are adding it over here, our GST rate will be 9%, and we will get a ITC also. That is only the change. Okay, so cost of input, add 18% GST on input. We won't add it normally. Why? Because on this we can take ITC. So that has not to be added in this cost. Correct or not? So my total cost is 7,80,000 only. 40% margin has to be added, and 18% GST and CGST, which is on restaurant services. Correct. On or any services, 18%. So it comes out to be invoice price is 12,88,000. Correct. See, invoice price for the both the items are same. Okay. And output tax is 9% on the same and 9% on the same. Correct. And ITC is what? ITC is 7,18,000. You do 7,80,000 into 9, or 7,80,000 into 9. Okay, you will find 70, whatever they have written, 70K, 70. Okay, so I can get ITC because I'm normal provision. So I'll get ITC from there, and my tax payable 28,080, 28,080. So my total tax is 56,160, which is more than 64,428. So advice is what? They should opt for normal provision. They should pay tax as normal provision. Okay. I know right now many things would be there in this sum which would feel like, what? Okay. But for this normal provision, okay, what I can suggest you, go through the intro notes which I have given in their ITC claiming example is there. Similarly, these things have been done. Correct. And in composition scheme, remember this, because we are not eligible to collect tax. So suppose you are a dealer. Okay, you are a dealer, and when you are purchasing something, you are a dealer who is registered under composition scheme. Correct. You are purchasing something, you are paying the tax, and you cannot recover the tax because you are not cannot recover the tax because you are not eligible to collect ITC. Correct. So what you will do? You will simply add it into the cost and you will sell it with that. So this is the simple thing which composition dealer can do, and they do it. And this is the regularity. They do this. So what they have done with the cost of input, they add 18% GST on input. Okay. So see here, profit has been added after the GST. But in normal scheme, after we sell everything, after adding profit margin and all, okay, then we calculate 18% GST. Then we calculate, see here GST on input is 1 lakh. Here GST is on input is 1,40,000, but here GST is 1,96,000. Why? Because this on this profit margin also we are charging GST because we are collecting it. We are providing taxable services. Correct. Is this clear? Advice, normal scheme is economical. Are you guys clear with it?
Yeah, Shivam. Clear.
Rekha, Himanshu?
Shivam, this yes. Output tax 98,000 it has been calculated on 12,88,000.
Yes, invoice price only.
And what about the 7,200?
7,200 is the input cost on this one. Because we this is the cost we are paying. It is exclusive of GST. So 18% of this will be sum total of this 1,40,400. Because we'll get ITC. Haven't you gone through the intro part? That ITC one? Then it might be simple then. I gave a kind of this example only, but with lower figures, small figures. If I'm not wrong, then correct me. With lower figures, not this big figures, lakhs and lakhs. I given 100, 102, 200. Okay, so I can move ahead. I hope so.
Yep.
Okay, we'll continue with the next example from next session, which will be after a few minutes. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, till the last example we did. Okay, for those who are seeing it in recording, okay, if you have any doubt, feel free to reach to me. Okay, we'll have a better discussion going forward. Okay, now the next example. Prem is running a consulting firm and also a fancy store, registered under the same PAN number. Turnover of the fancy store is 65 lakh and receipt of the consultancy firm is 10 lakh in the preceding financial year. You are required to provide answer with supporting explanatory note for each answer to the following question. Is Prem eligible for composition scheme? So his aggregate turnover is 65 plus 10, 75. So 75, 10% is 7.5 lakh. So no, he's not eligible. Why?
He cannot have the same PAN.
Same PAN?
Right.
Why? What is
no, it has to be the same PAN, Rekha. It has to be the same person. Same person having the same PAN number with
No, Rekha, this same PAN is not the reason over here. Okay, the reason is quite simple. 65 lakh plus 10 lakh is 75 lakh. So his aggregate turnover is coming to be 75 lakh. Correct. And we know 10% of this or 5 lakh, which is 7.5 lakh, is the limit of the service he can provide. But he's providing 10 lakh, which is more than 7.5 lakh. So this is the reason why he cannot opt for composition scheme. Okay. Whether it is possible for Prem to opt composition scheme only for fancy store? Chandu? Only
No.
for
I don't think so. I don't
No.
think so, Shivam, because
No.
if he has opted for one, if he is not eligible for the composition scheme for one business, he will not be eligible for composition scheme
correct.
for another business
Exactly
also.
correct. Exactly correct. Okay. If Prem is running a restaurant with a turnover of 65 lakh instead of consultancy firm as well as fancy store, would he be eligible for composition scheme?
He's running a restaurant with
So
65
that becomes
lakhs.
65 plus 65 means
65
130.
plus fancy, 130. Yes. I think he is eligible because 150
we
lakhs
need to
is
check the condition of 10%?
not required, Shiva, because it is the restaurant services
Restaurant
here.
service. And what will be the tax he has to pay? Because he's in goods also, he's in services also.
So 5%, 0.2, 2.5, 2.5.
2.5.
No.
2.
Oh, restaurant.
Goods
Restaurant
is
is
also
5%.
Good
Goods is
there.
also there.
18%.
Why 18%? Composition.
Not 18%. Composition scheme. This is composition levy, na?
It will be
Either
0.5.
1%.
Because I told you, na, when goods as well as service will be there, will fall under the trader. Okay. Because see, this answer is not to be framed like this. Okay. But because I have asked it, okay, because restaurant does not is like not like a trader, but just for your understanding purpose, whenever goods and service come together, correct, and it falls under 1 means 1.5. So it is assumed to be trader, because if the chart you remember which I gave for the rate chart, it is for traders for goods or services both. Okay, it is 0.5% of total turnover taxable.
Yes. Correct. I remember now. Yeah.
You gave the correct answer, so I'm not discussing the answer. Correct. Messrs. ABC and Company made the following supplies during the month of October: restaurant, mobile dealership, and textile manufacturing unit. Restaurant, mobile dealership, and textile manufacturing unit. Correct. Okay. Is he eligible? Restaurant, mobile dealership.
Restaurant, mobile, and textile manufacturing. Yes, he is eligible.
Okay. Just a second. My class later. I'll call you after. Okay. Now rework the following restaurant supply of mobile through eco operator. Eco. Rekha will answer.
Restaurant through e-commerce.
Is servicing in restaurant supply of mobile but through eco. Is he eligible for competition scheme?
Rekha, we can't hear you.
No,
I don't. I am not telling anything.
You are not replying.
No,
okay.
He's not eligible.
Correct. He is not eligible because eco is coming.
Yeah.
Correct.
Actually, just in last session itself, Chandu told us that in ECU we can't.
ECU,
yes.
Yeah.
Last session, Chandu. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Correct.
Last recording.
This conditions. Okay. These conditions we have read. Okay. Only one thing, which I have not mentioned in the condition is this one. Okay. What is this? I can read it now, but I cannot make you fully aware of this thing. But they are saying that the goods held in stock by him on the appointed date have not been purchased in the course of interstate or commerce, imported from a place outside India, or received from his branch situated outside the state, from his agent or principal outside the state where option is exercised under Rule 3.1 CGST rules, who has opted for compensation scheme at the time of migrating into GST. So what are this one I cannot explain right now, but what they're saying is that conditions and restrictions means the person who is opting, because I told you, if you remember, I gave you the example that GST CMP 03 is needed with 2 and sorry, ITC 03 is needed with CMP 2, correct? And CMP 3 is needed with CMP 1. Okay. So why this condition they have given, I have no idea. Okay. Neither I have seen it in practical life that one who have this cannot go or do anything or trade, or because this is illogical to me. Because why do we file 03? Correct. We file to intimate the stock, and there everything is written, what the tax is there, what input tax is there, what taxes you have paid. Correct. But they have said that interstate good should not be in their stock. Outside India should not be there. Okay, from branch situation means any stock which is of interstate could not be there. Correct. But this example, but this line I do not agree with. And if I do agree with, I'll confirm you once. Okay. So means tax is there. Okay, if taxes goods are there, that's correct. But the day when you are opting for composition scheme, your stock, your inventory or stock should not hold any goods which has been obtained in interstate transaction. Correct. That may be interstate trade or commerce, imported place of business, or from branch situation outside the state. Everything means interstate only. Correct. So interstate stock should not be there. It won't form part of your question because I'm not very sure about this thing. Neither I have seen it, nor I have done. Rest all of the conditions we have mentioned, we have read it. Okay. This goods about those PETA products I have told you. Okay. Yeah. One more thing is that the one who is registered as a composition dealer, okay, shall always in his invoice shall always display the mandatory words composition taxable person not eligible to collect tax on composition on supply. So it is mandatory. Okay, under rules. If I'm not recalling the rule, means I'm not able to recall the rules right now, but if I'm not wrong, 3.1 is only the rule. Okay. So on invoice, it is a mandatory display as well as mandatory display of the word composition taxable person on every notice and signboard displayed at prominent places. With the word prominent places, there is a whole 5-6 page discussion what is prominent place in the bear law. But for now, it's principal place of business. Correct. Its principal place and as well as the branches which you have all over India. Everywhere, it is a mandatory display composition taxable person. This word has to be there on the signboard or the name board or nameplate, whatever it is. And on display, mandatory.
Composition dealer in any case cannot have interstate transaction in any case.
In any case, no. No. Neither it can have it, nor on the date when he's opting for that composition scheme, he shall have any stock of goods of interstate transaction. Correct. Now, these are
if he has interstate transaction, then by default he'll be converted as general.
No. Rule is that at first you need to trade off those goods, and then you can opt for. Means it gets postponed for a year, or if you can show that those all are supply. Because if you remember, in supply we read it that even though we do not supply the goods, sometimes it is considered to be supply. If you remember, ITC is availed on those goods. Okay, then he had to treat all those as supply. He has to pay tax, and then he's eligible to claim. That is why we file 03, maybe ITC 03 or CMP 03, whatever it is. That is the reason why do we file all those things. Correct. But he should not have here. Why they have written should not have, which means that should not have means here simply means interstate good should not be there. Correct. If it is there also, he has to dispose it and has to pay tax or whatever it is, supply it is. I told you, na, practicality, it's not that. It's very difficult to do in practical. Because anyone will tell it is not interstate. What will you do? You cannot go to this. So that's why I'm not very confident about this condition. Correct. Okay, this SSC filing intimation, appointed date. Appointed date, I told you that date notified by the law itself. Okay. And GST REG01, we have discussed all these things. Okay. For already registered person, okay. For already registered person, date of effective date will be, how they have given this table. Effective date will be appointed date. Okay, registered under GST switches to filing of intimation. Effective date is filing of intimation. But who was already registered under pre-reason, appointed date means was there, should not, was there, and they had to file it within that. And if you are switching it, then filing of intimation. If you remember, I gave you the date also that it should be before the commencement of the financial year, correct? Because if you are going to opt for it, you need to inform the department before the year starts. Correct.
Yep.
Now let's move on to next. Now some questions are, why I discussed this, some question is there. It will be clear now. If a person is liable to be registered on 11 Jan 2020 and has applied for registration on 17 Jan 2020. What is the effective date for registration of composition levy? Okay, effective date is, see, there will be three dates. Okay, the 3 dates will be, okay, eligible for registration, correct. Applied for registration. Okay, maybe REG01 or CMP02, whatever it is. Okay, or one is means what I can say, department has granted, correct. Thus these 3 dates will come. Always remember, if these 3 dates are given, correct. Remember, this is a thumb rule. I am giving you the most shortcut trick. If this word is given, department has granted, okay, this date will be the effective date of registration. Okay, but if these 2 dates are given, eligible for registration will be the date when effective date will be that. Okay, remember this. Among all these 3 dates, department granted date will prevail more, correct. And if anything other than department is given, eligible for registration will be the effective date. Now let's see 2-3 examples are there. It's simple. Person eligible for registration and applied for registration. We know eligible for registration will prevail. So eligible registration prevail. Okay. A person is liable to the registration of 1st Feb, applied for registration 17 March and registration granted on 20th Jan. So what will be that? It will be 20th March.
20th March.
So this is a rule which you can remember because see, restaurant services, outdoor catering 2.5. Any other supplier eligible for composition levy under section 10 and provisional chapter 0.5. Correct. Manufacturers other than manufacturer of that PITA 2.5. Trader, here they have given. Certainly. Turnover of GST of taxable goods and taxable services. Okay. And see, this will clear the doubt. Correct. See what the for a manufacturer, aggregate turnover means taxable exempted goods. Okay. Exempted services do not include, exempt services will be there, but does not include interest on discount, deposit, loans, or advance. Turnover of GST, taxable plus exempted has to be added in the turnover one. And aggregate turnover, this has to be added. Aggregate turnover is similar in every places, correct. But in trader only taxable for taxable turnover is taken, which is taxable goods and taxable services. Okay. So what is the difference between, I repeat it again for Rekha. Okay. What is the difference between total turnover and taxable turnover? Total turnover includes to the taxable as well as exempted goods and service, but taxable turnover only includes the taxable goods and service. Correct. See, aggregate turnover in the preceding year only taxable service. Okay, and turnover for GST 258 taxable plus exempted service. So go through this very carefully. Your rates or this. If you have any doubt in calculating that what has to be added in what turnover, it will clear everything. Because it's given in our book so beautifully, that's why I have not included it in my notes. Okay, because my notes is for your easier purpose, and if it is already done.
So Shivam, in all the 3 cases, the interest portion is exempted, right?
For all every case. Yes. Every
okay.
Interest is exempted, and only one special exemption is there. You can remember in this way. Correct, sir. This is a very good way. That interest on deposit, loans, or advances. Correct. That is excluded in aggregate turnover. For every aggregate turnover, total turnover, taxable turnover, everything. And there is a special exemption of exempted services only for taxable turnover. Rest for everything is same.
Yep.
So again, this comes. X Limited is a supplier of following services. Turnover during the previous year, restaurant service 90 lakh, interest earned on loans 20 lakh. Is eligible? Very simple. He is eligible, and tax is also 2.5 plus 2.5. Correct or not? Because this has not to be taken. Very simple. Should I need to read it? It is simple.
Not required, I guess.
Okay, restaurant services and also supplies of any extended service, including services by way of extended deposits for consideration. Leave it. No need. Next example, Mr. C of Chennai is running a Kirana business. Okay, what is Kirana? It is a word in Hindi.
Grocery
Okay.
store.
Grocery stores are known as Kirana business. Okay. Supply of goods, previous year turnover. What is a tourer? Very good. Current year. Okay. Supply of goods, wheats and rice, exempted supply, packed product, taxable supply, rent for commercial property, rent from residential dwelling. Mr. C is eligible for composition levy in the current year or not. So for determining in the current year, what we need to say, we need to see the turnover of the previous year.
Aggregate. Yeah.
Aggregate.
Yeah.
And this aggregate is everything which has to be added. So 80 plus
Correct.
88, 90. So it is 100 lakh.
100 lakhs.
So he is
100
eligible.
lakhs. Yeah. 1 crore.
Is not exceeding.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. He's not exceeding 150 crores.
He is eligible.
1.5 crores.
So,
yeah.
Find the GST under competition levy in the current year. Correct. So what will GST levy in the current year? It is 88, 90 and 100, 108 lakhs, if I'm not wrong. Correct. 108 lakhs and 6 plus 2, 8%. Okay, so 10.8 is there. So also find out GST under competition levy in the current year. So what will the GST levied? 108 lakhs. It will be wheat and rice exempted. Okay, so it is a trader, correct?
Yeah.
Correct. And in trader, we know exempted, only taxable supply is taken. So this has to be excluded from the turnover, if I'm correct or not.
Yes.
So only this will form part of my taxable, this turnover. So 12 plus 2, 14, 14 plus 6 is 20, 20 lakh. And the percentage is 1%, which means 20,000, means 10,000 or 10,000. CGST, SG, ST. Correct or not? Have they done the calculation? Correct.
No, Shivam, I think.
Beautiful. Okay. Correct. I went in a wrong way. What is that? I've just checked the aggregate turnover. I haven't checked the services limit. Correct. So 10 plus 2 is the 12 lakh is the service, and eligible amount is 10 lakh because 10% of 100 lakh, 10 lakh. So
yeah, it is 12%.
GST will not be less.
More than 10%.
10.
More than
but
10%.
If it, so let's assume that if it has to be, means if GST is allowed, so taxable turnover, only this part which have been availed, and the same thing which I did has to be done.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah. Correct.
I was not mistaken. I just did it for your better understanding. Correct. I didn't do the mistake.
Good.
I did it for your betterment. Okay, competition scheme latest amendment.
So Shivam, in 12 lakhs we are only means taking that this scroll up.
Which one? Which way? Either my way or this book's way? Because I have taken assumption that 12 lakh is getting covered. I've taken that assumption. What I have done, I have made it 100 lakhs. So my turnover increased. Now 10% will cover. I gave you example so that when we talk about taxable turnover, how it is really calculated. That's why I gave.
Why we are not taking rent from commercial and residential dwelling?
Why not we are taking it now?
We are only means 12 by 100 into 100, 12%. So we are taking only
10 plus 2 12 ना, ये हुआ ना 12 लाख. इसी का तो कर रहे हैं क्योंकि 100 लाख हो रहा है तो 100 लाख का 10% मतलब कितना 10 लाख की लिमिट है. हम सर्विसेज दे रहे हैं 12 लाख का, इसीलिए तो एलिजिबल नहीं है. फिर मैंने एजम्पशन लिया कि मान लीजिए, मतलब है नहीं, मान लीजिए 12 लाख था, ये एलिजिबल हो गया. जो एलिजिबल हो जाता तो कैसे टैक्स करता, इस हिसाब से टैक्स करता. मैंने ये एग्जांपल दिया.
ओके.
रेंट फ्रॉम कमर्शियल एंड रेंट फ्रॉम रेसिडेंशियल डवेलिंग, ये तो सर्विसेज ही है. करेक्ट. दिस इज सी लेटेस्ट अमेंडमेंट विद इफेक्ट फ्रॉम 2019 गए भी 3-4 साल हो गए. नाउ इट इज लेटेस्ट अमेंडमेंट. Okay, because previously this supplier, this notification which has 6% we talk about, na 3%, for those who was opting for supply, sorry, services 50 lakh. Previously rate was different. Okay, now
Yeah.
what? 15, 16, 18, 19. Okay, so we'll do up to here only. Okay, I have to take another session on this. So tomorrow session is there, correct? So tomorrow I'll complete this and I'll put few MCQs also. I'll complete it and we'll start exemption chapter from Saturday. Okay. So
Start at 9 o'clock, Shiva.
thank you all.
Yeah.